other aspects like NPS, the Right to Information Act, and very many other things which is important when we function as a government body. So to conclude this induction training program, we thought let us see the IT initiatives because we are totally an IT-driven organization now. We can very well, with full confidence, we can say that EPFO is now driven by IT. Entire process on which EPFO provides services, entire architecture on which EPFO functions, everything is driven by the IT division. And therefore, it's important that we are aware of the initiatives that EPFO has taken in the last few years, and also what's the thought on the future course of action. So to take this session, we have with us a very experienced hand at the IT Information Services Division. He is Shri S.K. Patnaik. He is currently Deputy Director at the Information Services Division, and he has been in EPFO since 1990. And so he is aware of the entire transition that EPFO has seen from being a totally manual organization where everything was on pen and paper to a system where now you do things just by click of a button and things are done. So the entire transition has happened in front of his eyes, and he has been very much been a part of that transition. So welcome, sir. Welcome to this induction training program. And you have been watching this program from day one, supporting us in ensuring that the video conferencing system goes smooth. And I can tell you that it has been a flawless exercise in spite of being distributed over so many centers. We have been able to have the best possible video conferencing system that we could have. Thank you for being with us. And now I request you to share your understanding and share your experience of working in IS division and the initiatives that IS division would be is taking. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Ajay sir. And thank you, Mrudula madam, also to having given me the privilege of taking this session. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all the newly joined ASOs. Of course, as on today, they are no more new. They are 4 weeks old and quite mature enough and got into the EPFO family. And they were very much fortunate that so in-depth training in all the areas of functional activity in which EPFO is engaged has been imparted by almost, I can say, the most prominent expert domains who have been working in EPFO for quite years together. So the session which I am taking is the last session. They must be eagerly waiting that how soon this training session is going to be over. Anyway, the topic which I am going to cover is the new initiatives or the initiatives which EPFO has taken in the field of information technology so as to make the services which EPFO is committed very smooth and hassle-free. As all of you may be aware that now India and the world, global, all over, the concept of the information communication technology, it has made development of a new service delivery model possible, which has brought a major shift in the way the government does its business. It is primarily the digital government, which is all about working with technology to improve the access to and delivery of public services. The ultimate goal is to create a network that builds a close relationship with all the stakeholders. Primarily the stakeholders for government is citizens, business, and the government agencies. As far as EPFO is concerned, our stakeholders are employers, EPF members, pensioners, and other banks and other bodies with whom EPFO interacts while conducting its business. I am just going to share one PowerPoint presentation wherein all the new initiatives have been enumerated, and I will be briefing about it. I have taken you all back to the year 2012 when EPFO has started in real terms the IT initiatives. Even though EPFO has commenced its computerization program in the year 1993 one itself, but in a limited scope. But in 2000, from 2012 onwards, it came with a big bang. In the year 2012, the EPFO brought in about the ECR, what we call it as ECR, that is electronic challan cum return. Prior to 2012, the statutory returns which the employers were obligatory to submit in during different periods. Some returns were submitted as monthly, yearly, annually. All those returns were submitted in a paper-based mode. But in 2012, the EPFO has introduced this electronic challan cum return. It is a soft copy of return which consists of the details of the employees in respect of whom the establishment is remitting its dues. This concept has already been briefed to you, perhaps by the other faculty. But this is an IT initiative which I have mentioned here, that it has replaced the process of manual based return filing and multiple return filings with a completely paperless and hassle-free process. And it is a complete online process. The employer has to file one single monthly return and remit the amount along with the monthly return through online mode. So this has facilitated the employers in a great way, as well as the PF members with whom the month money or the PF contribution is credited into their passbook, or you can say their PF account on real-time basis. Another initiative which brought EPF in the year 2013-14, as you all very much aware that EPFO has got some 6.5 crore active membership and an account including the dormants totaling up to 21 crores. So the EPFO has the practice of crediting interest on the EPF contributions once in a year. Okay, and the crediting of contribution was in the previous year prior to 2014, 13-14 was taking place in a decentralized fashion. As you may be aware that EPFO has, as on today, we have got 135 regional offices total. So the crediting of interest was happening office wise. The office task holders or the office auditors were working and devoting a lot of time on crediting interest on the members' contribution, and as a result, the interest component which was being credited into the members' account was taking undue long time, and the members were unable to know what amount of interest has been credited to their account for a particular year or for the current year. In 2013-14, EPFO has shifted the more modality of crediting interest from a decentralized mode to centralized mode. As and when the rate of interest is declared and notified in the Gazette, the EPFO takes immediate action to credit the interest declared in respect of all the EPF member at one go. And the most part of it is that as soon as the interest is credited, all the members are also intimated through SMS the interest component which has been credited to their outstanding PPF corpus. And as a result, the member also comes to know immediately the amount of interest credited in their account. And this has been going on since the year 2014, 13-14 onwards. Uh, just prior to my session, you have already understood the certificate of coverage which is being issued to international workers. So prior to August 2013, the certificate of coverage was issued to the international worker through a manual based method. Okay, as on today, we have got agreement with 20 countries on the with regard to the coverage exclusion, and by which we issue certificate of coverage. And the certificate of coverage has been means molded into the centralized software complete, which helps in generation of certificate coverage to the EPF member migrating to the countries having social security agreement with India. And further, the next initiative which EPFO went into is online transfer of accounts. You have been already briefed that EPFO as on date has multiple member IDs. As and when a member joins any establishment, he is given a member ID. From 2014 onwards, we EPFO had started allotting universal account number, which is a unique number and which acts as an umbrella under which the multiple member IDs which had been going on allotted for all the years together, uh, it gives a facility for the members to accumulate or aggregate all the multiple PF accumulation which are lying in the credit from one PF account to another PF account. And this process previously was being handled through a manual process. Now with this online transfer of account, now the facility which EPFO has provided is an online facility, an online option to the member itself to file one online claim at the member portal. Member portal, you have already been briefed by Mr. Nilendu sir, regional commissioner. He has also demonstrated before you. In the member portal, the member or EPF member has a facility to file online claim, be it for an advance application, be it for final settlement, or be it for transfer application. The transfer application which is filed at the member portal through online mode, it will help in transferring the member's PF accumulation of a member from one PF account to another PF account without involving any paper-based transaction. That is, it is a zero paperless transaction which is happening through this initiative of EPFO. Now, in the year 2014, EPFO had introduced this online registration of establishment. As you are very much aware that an establishment more members are statutorily uh, are covered under this employees EPF employees EPF and MP Act 1952 and the schemes framed thereunder. Prior to 2014, the process through which these establishments were getting covered was paper based. The establishment has to file paper returns which was being examined, and thereafter through a manual process a code number was being allotted. Right in 2000 June 2014, EPFO had introduced this online registration of establishment, or which we call it as OLRI. Okay. Through this process, the employers were given a facility to give input, the information about the establishment in respect of which they desired the EPF code number. And in that process, they had to provide details of the establishment, address, and their PAN number, and bank account number, and other paper documents which were being given in manual mode. The same documents are to be scanned and uploaded at the OLRE portal, and with the examination of those documents and the application of the employer which gets uploaded at the OLRE portal is examined also by the competent authority in an online mode, and the EPF code numbers are allotted instantaneously. Gradually, what happened with the government of India's theory or the concept or the policy of ease of doing business with minimum governance brought in that the concept that there should be a single window through which the all the labor departments, all the establishments or the industries which are coming up are allotted the respective code number through a smooth and hassle-free service. So we had EPFO had integrated itself with the Ministry of Labor in the first instance, and there is a portal which called Shram Suvidha portal, which you have already been briefed about it, through which, as on today, establishments which are newly coming up and are desirous of getting a EPF code number. Simultaneously, there is also another department, labor department called Employee State Insurance Corporation, which takes care of the medical benefit, and the establishments which desire the ESI code number are to file the application through an online mode at the Shram Suvidha portal, wherein in response to their application, instantaneously the EPF code number as well as the ESI code number both are allotted to that establishment, and as well as intimated to the establishment through online mode. Subsequently, a year or so, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, which has come up with a portal or the facility called Spice portal, where which has desired, as per the government policy, to have integration with this labor social welfare schemes. So now, as on today, as you may be all aware that a new company, whenever it comes up, it has to register with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs under Companies Law Act 1956. Okay. Now, as and when a company gets registration at the Ministry of Corporate Affairs as a company entity, instantaneously, as and when it provides all the details required therein, it also gets allotted one EPF code number. Now, this infers that any company which is coming up or going to come up in future days are instantaneously allotted an EPF code number at the same instant when they are making their application for registration as a new company. So this is a landmark, or you can say a flyshoot uh, development which has taken place of late. And the establishments which are not getting, or which are not coming under the Companies Act 1956, uh, they are uh, required to apply for EPF code number at the Shram Suvidha portal, wherein they will get both the EPF code number as well as ESI code number at one go. There are establishments, in fact, there are establishments which are covered under Shops and Establishments Act, Labor Welfare Act, and proprietorship. So those are the categories which doesn't get registered under the company's law. So they get their EPF code number at the Shram Suvidha portal. But as far as companies are concerned, they are allotted the EPF code number at one go at the SPICE portal when they apply for the registration of a company. Okay. As I have told you, this EPFO had in this June 2014 had launched this universal account number, which is a unique number, and it acts as an umbrella for the multiple member IDs, which has been allotted to the same individual. Okay, and to make this universal account number effective and to link the service delivery to the UN, EPFO thought to make it distinct. How to make it distinct? So there was a quite lot of deliberation went through it, and thought process went through the process, through the means in the different meetings of senior officers of EPFO and ministry, and as ultimately EPFO thought of seeding the KYC. KYC stands for Know Your Customer. Okay. Now primarily the KYC which EPFO emphasizes is our Aadhaar number. Aadhaar number, all of you are acquainted with it. This has been concept which has been floated by Government of India through UIDA authority, and bank account is there, and PAN. These three are primary KYCs which EPFO emphasized to seed with the UN, so that it will distinctly identify an individual member, and it will help EPFO to uh, induce IT driven services, and it will also facilitate the member to adopt this online facility of getting know about the EPF corpus, and to apply for the claim, apply for a settlement or advance or pension through online mode. So basically the universal account number and the KYC seeded with the UN had given a major kick in helping EPFO to introduce many of its online facilities. Since this EPFO had introduced this UN and this KYC, as and when UN is allotted, the EPF member is obliged or obligatory to activate his UN. There is a concept called activation of UN, which you have already been, I think, briefed about it. Activation of UN means the member has to provide his mobile number, and he has to create the user credential. Then the UN gets activated, and once the UN gets activated, the mobile number of the particular member gets stored at our EPFO database. So that has in turn helped us to communicate with the members and also with the employers directly, and which has enabled us to EPFO to intimate the members or the employers regarding any matter relating to EPF and the schemes framed thereunder. So now, as of now, EPFO has been sending SMS message to all the active members in respect of whom the contributions are being credited into their PF account on monthly basis. That means on in every month, as and when the contribution of a member is credited into his account, the member gets an SMS alert intimating that such and this much amount has been credited into the member's account for the this particular month. So this has helped the member to know the balance which lies in his account, PF corpus. Similarly, there is a system in place called default management, wherein the employers, as you have already briefed about, that the employers are to deposit or make their monthly remittances by 15th of the following month in which the contributions are due. So EPFO watches keeps a watch on the compliance by all the establishment, and as soon as the 15th of any month is over, it generates a defaulter list. That means the employers, those who have not yet deposited their monthly statutory dues, they are being given one SMS message having a gentle reminder that they have not deposited the monthly contribution in respect of the employees engaged by them. So that gives an alert to the employer. Quite often it happens that the main principal employer is maybe becomes unaware of the fact that the deposit has not been remitted. So by this SMS message, he becomes alert, immediately activates his workforce or the person who is authorized to carry out this business to do it. Similarly, of late, EPFO has started also to send SMS messages to employees wherever EPF contributions are not received to the individual mobile number, to make them aware that their contribution has not been received for this particular month. So in turn, the employees also become alert as and when they receive that their contribution has been not received. So they take the proactive steps which is implied or which is required explicitly on their part to raise that issue before their employers or to raise grievance before the employers, so that their contribution gets remitted at the earliest.
नेक्स्ट जी जो नहीं आ रहा
Ajit, something is wrong?
या चेकिंग मैम प्रिंस एक बार चेक करना पटनायक जी का ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा आई थिंक दे लॉस्ट कनेक्शन
जी सर मैं अपने यहीं पे हूं
7738299899. If the format of the SMS is EPFO HO and followed by UN number and followed by language, the EPFO sends in.
Dada, you had lost connection. You will have to repeat a bit. You had lost connection. You weren't there for a few minutes.
Okay, okay. Now am I audible, Prince?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
sir.
audible. You're audible.
Yes, sir.
EPFO had started a facility called short code SMS service, in which the members with registered mobile number will have to send one SMS at a specified number, that is 7738299899. The format of the SMS is EPFO HO followed by UN number. UN number is the 12-digit number which is allotted to all the EPF members, followed by language. Language is the first three characters of preferred language. EPFO sends the SMS in the local language in which the employee or the EPF member desires. Okay. Now the here when the SMS is received by EPFO's data center, EPFO, the application which has been developed in this slide, it immediately sends the UN and KYC status and the last contribution and the total PF balance details back to the member on their registered mobile numbers. So this has facilitated to communicate with the EPF members in their own local language. Okay, and what the members have to do, just give an SMS in the prescribed format. Once the SMS is received by the EPFO, EPFO immediately reverts back to the member on their mobile number with the details therein. So that here in this EPF member gets to know about the EPF corpus status and details about it. Now as you all have been briefed already, that you might have known that EPFO has got 5 accounts. That is, account number 1 is PPF account, account number 2 is administrative account, account number 10 is pension account number 21 is EDLI insurance account, and account number 22 is administrative of insurance fund. Okay, there are 5 accounts are maintained in EPFO. Prior to this 2017, what EPFO was doing, we had link branches in all the 135 offices in the which was maintained in the local State Bank of India. So employers used to deposit their monthly remittances, which used to get credited through a challan in these 5 accounts. Okay. Now, in that process, which was there pre-existing in EPFO, the employer had to file that challan and give the different account number and remit it only in SBI, State Bank of India, even though he had bank account in other bank with other bankers. In that process, what was actually was happening is that there was a lag between the remitted date of the contribution by the employer and the date of credit into EPF account lying in the State Bank of India, and the amount was being getting aggregated in all the 135 field offices located SBI State Bank of India, which in turn was getting transferred to the central EPFO headquarters investment account, and from where the amount corpus used to get invested in the prescribed portfolios. Okay. Now, of late, 2 years back, EPFO had started deliberating with all the banks which are available all throughout Pan India, and integrated a facility with all the banks. And as of now, we have got 12 banks integrated with EPFO. And in that process, what now, as on today, what the employer has got the facility, that now the employer is able to remit the monthly contribution of the employees engaged by him through the bank wherein he has his own account, and the transfer of amount which is taking place instantaneously within 24 hours. Okay. Now, here we have given only one account. EPFO has what did that it has maintained a single account in all the 12 banks, and the amount which the employer is crediting in the challan, even though he is spelling out the different amounts which is due in different all the 5 accounts, but he is remitting a single money, and which is getting credited in the single account which EPFO has got in the concerned maintains in the concerned bank. Okay, and thereby thereafter what EPFO does is that it divides or it segregates the single bank account into 5 virtual accounts. This account 1, which I have told, account 1, 10, 2, 21, 22, which are there, still they are existing, and they are for area wise actually. EPF account, account number 1, pension account number 10, insurance account number 21. So those amounts are segregated in a virtual manner actually. Okay, and this has in turn resulted in huge saving for EPFO in what shape? In the shape of service charges being paid to SBI. Now, apart from this 12 banks which are there, already EPFO is deliberating with Jammu and Kashmir Bank and Indian Overseas Bank and Bank of Maharashtra, which is going to come off very early. As all of you know, that with the repeal of this Article 370, EPFO office has been already started functioning in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and there in Jammu and Kashmir, the Jammu and Kashmir Bank is the most predominant bank which is there across the state. So we are EPFO is integrating with Jammu and Kashmir Bank also, so that the establishments which are functioning in the state of Jammu and Kashmir are able to deposit or remit their dues in Jammu and Kashmir. And it is as a corollary, what is happening in this new initiative of EPFO in this centralized collection is that even though in a particular day the number of credits which might be coming into these different 12 banks may be more, but when at the end of the day there is a single debit credit into the State Bank of India, which is the main investment bank of EPFO, through single credit, the entire credits which are happening in these banks are accumulated, and through a single debit process, those are debited from those accounts and in turn credited in the State Bank of India investment account. So this has been a landmark initiative, and it has helped EPFO in having lot of saving, and moreover the investment is also being made at the right time. I mean, in a realistic mode actually, we can say, as compared to the earlier practice of getting accumulated from all the 135 offices and and transferring these accounts. There was a time lag which was happening in this process actually. Now the next initiative which EPFO has integrated is Jeevan Praman. As all of you know that in 2015-16, this government of India had introduced this Jeevan Praman, that is digital life certificate. The standard practice is that any pensioner, maybe it EPFO pensioner, or it can be a government pensioner, it can be a defense pensioner, any class of pensioner, as per the standard rules and practice, are required to submit one life certificate once in a year, and that also in the month of November or December, so that their pension gets continued. Okay, this is the standard practice which is applicable to all the pensioners. So now the same also was applicable to EPS pensioners. EPS pensioners, as you may be already aware, under this EPS scheme, Employees Pension Scheme 1995, the EPFO is also giving monthly pension. As of now, we have got some 65 lakh pensioners on our rolls. Okay. Now, in this, with this Government of India's introduction of this digital life certificate or the Jeevan Praman, what is there. EPFO had also adopted, in line with the Government of India policy, and started this Jeevan Praman module or functionality. We provided to all the EPS pensioners since 2015-16. Here under this, what is expected of the pensioner is that the pensioner has to provide through his biometric authentication the digital life certificate in the month of November and December by visiting any of the bank through which he was drawing the pension, or by visiting any of the EPFO office, by visiting the concerned EPFO office where he is drawing through, from where he is drawing the pension. So now, of late, with the experience that EPFO had through last 5 years or 4 years, since 2015-16, we have observed that in the month of November and December, there used to be a lot of huge queues in front of all the field offices, and the pensioners were getting harassed, or they were having problems or troubles in visiting to the PF office or to the banks and stand in queues to submit their life certificate, even though it was a digital mode. Okay. Now, what EPFO has done, that now it has dispensed with the month actually. November and December, earlier we used to emphasize that only in the month of November and December a pensioner has to submit the life certificate once in a year. Now we are telling that EPFO is telling that the pensioner has a right or has a liberty to submit his life certificate at any time during the year, which will be valid for 1 year. So this is a landmark deviation. Even the government has not started this, adopted this practice, and EPFO has started right away in facilitating all the EPS pensioners by giving them liberty to file their digital life certificate at any time during the year, whenever they feel convenient, and that life certificate will be valid for 1 year. Now this digital life certificate submission, and a pensioner has got facility to submit the digital life certificate through few options, that he can submit it at the pension drawing bank, where there is a facility for this biometric submission, digital life certificate submission, or at the EPFO office. And recently we have integrated this submission of digital life certificate with the common service center, which is also a government entity created under MITI, Ministry of Information Technology, that they have also facility to accept this digital life certificate of EPS pensioners. And to add to it, even at the Umang application, which is a means, you can say, mobile application, a pensioner can also submit his life certificate by configuring a biometric device through with their Android mobile actually. And the biometric device which is generally configured is, nowadays it is available by the brand name called Mantra or Mudra. There are 3-4 types of so there are 3-4 types of biometric devices which are available in the market actually, which needs to be configured with the mobile, and a pensioner, by sitting at his home or house, he can submit his digital life certificate. The bottleneck here is that he has to be a little bit technology savvy, because it has to be the biometric device, it has to be attached with the mobile, and has to be registered with the UIDI once at one time, and thereafter he can submit his life certificate for means on a year-to-year basis with that through that mobile, sitting right way at his home. So this is the initiative which EPFO had brought in the functionality of submission of digital life certificate. Now, now in the year 2017, EPFO had brought this online claim receipt system. Actually, earlier the members who desired to avail advances or final settlement, they had to apply in the prescribed claim forms. We had in vague existence the claim form called 19, form number 31, form number 10C, form number 10D. So all those forms were meant for different purposes of advance, which the member had to fill it up and submit it to the employer, get it attested, and thereafter they have to be submitted physically to the concerned EPFO office, wherein it was at which point it was getting settled. Okay. Now this EPFO had launched this online claim receipt system, where a member having Aadhaar and the activated UN and the KYC filed, which I have already told, Aadhaar, PAN, and bank account number. They can file. They have the facility right away to file the claims in an online mode at their member portal without requiring any intermediation of employer. Means the employer doesn't have to do anything in this modality. Already the employee is distinctly identified by the EPFO by virtue of his seeding of the KYC, Aadhaar, PAN, and bank account number. Okay. Now the member has the facility to directly file online claim, be it any type of claim, that PF advance claim or for a settlement claim or whatever it is. This was introduced in the year July 2017 actually. And subsequently, as I have told, that the transfer of accumulation between two PF accounts, that was also taking place since we had different bank accounts across 135 offices, as I have already told you sometime while ago, that we had 135 bank accounts. So at that point of time, when a member used to apply for transfer of PF account, so the money was getting transferred from one PF account to another PF account with through the mode of check. Actually, physical check was getting dispatched from one PF office to another PF office, and that check was getting credited into the EPF account of that concerned office, and after which the EPF office, concerned PF office, used to credit the money in the members account. So now with the introduction of single consolidation account, bank account centrally, EPFO had dispensed with actual transfer of money between two unexempted member ID. I think you are already aware of the categories, that what is an exempted establishment and what is an unexempted establishment. Okay. Now with this central receipt account, physical transfer of money has been dispensed of with, and now only the need is there just to uh, intimate or transfer the details of the service particular of the member from the previous employment to the present. Service particular of a member primarily consists of his name, father's name, date of birth, date of joining, date of exit, and the PF corpus. There are three PF corpus are there: employer share, employee share, and pension fund. Three funds, whatever shares are there outstanding in the previous accumulation, those are getting intimated to the present employment or present employment establishment member ID PPF account, so that that service history gets integrated into the present service history of the current establishment. So this was introduced in the year in the August 2017. Okay. This has actually prior to this introduction, there was quite time lag in transferring accounts from one PF account to EPF account to another EPF account, and members were facing a lot of difficulty in aggregating their service history. As all of you are also aware that a minimum of 10 years service is required to become entitled for pension. So, and the amount of pension which a member is entitled depends on the number of contributory service actually. The more the number of contributory service, the more the pension he will get. So a member always needs to aggregate all the service history in all the different establishment where he has worked. As all of you know that today's trend is migratory nature. An employee in his service span of 30-40 years works in different establishments spread across different locations. So now which will actually require him to aggregate all the services uh, he has worked throughout his service career, and as a result what will happen that he will be eligible to get a good amount of pension at the end flag end of his service when he superannuates or retires from the active service. Another new initiative which EPFO had introduced is that, as all of you know, means you know that employer has to remit contribution every month in respect of all the employees engaged by him. So, with the experience, what EPFO has learned that there are many large establishments which has work contracts going on at different locations spread across the geographical proximity of the pan-India locations actually. For instance, I can say there is a company called Larsen and Tarbo, which you may be all aware, or any security say group G4, group 4 security establishment, which they engage a lot of workers at different locations, okay, and their administration of the worker, the payment of salary or the wages takes place at the location wise, location based actually. So they were facing difficulty in the uh, monthly return which we had introduced called ECR actually, electronic challan cum return. So now in July 2017, EPFO had given them facility to file such ECR location wise, giving location wise employees particular. Now here the facility has facilitated the employer. He can declare for each employee the period for which the employee has worked at a particular branch or location by utilizing this service actually. Now here with this service, introduction of this service, he can there is a facility called form 5A in the employer portal, which is actually meant is ownership detail. Form 5A is called actually ownership detail. Any company which is registered with the EPFO has to declare who is the owner of the company. So that format or the prescribed return which is there, it is an online return that is called form 5A. Now the employer has been given a facility to add all the location of the establishments in the form 5A itself, so that when he submits his ECR monthly return location wise, then it will be easy to identify the ECR and credit the amount in the respective bank accounts or the PF corpus of the members. And this has also facilitated the employers also to file multiple ECRs in respect of the different locations. Okay, this has come up in July 2017. As all of you know, maybe well aware that Government of India means with the introduction of this IT Act 2000. Okay, government the Act has recognized the digital signature actually. The Section 4 of the IT Act 2000 has given recognition to electronic records actually, and the authentication of digital electronic record by way of digital signature. This has been provided in section 3 of the IT Act 2000. Okay. Now, as and when we used to take from employer the digital signature authentication with the returns ECR or say claims, this digital signature concept has some client-side dependencies. Client-side dependencies, what I mean is that while using digital signature on their PC or laptop, the browser which they use should be compatible with the digital signature. This digital signature is recognized by there is a body called Certifying Authorities, CA, under the IT Act 2000, which is in turn controlled by CCA, Controller of Certifying Authority. Okay. Now, this digital signature has a dependency on the browser version and with the Java version actually. So now in that manner, the employers were facing difficulty to attest their document with use of digital signature. Okay. Now, keeping in view of that difficulty, with this, when this Aadhaar concept came in, so the EPFO has also introduced a Aadhaar-based e-sign with effect from October 2017. In addition to the digital signature, means keeping that digital signature concept intact or in real, it has given one additional facility called e-sign. E-sign is an online electronic signature service which is generally is a one-time verification through an OTP which goes to the Aadhaar tagged mobile number of the authorized person actually. Then the document or the information which the employer is furnishing to EPFO, it is taken as legal and binding actually. And it has been recognized in the IT Act 2000 also by way of an amendment in 2004, I think. So this facility is an additional facility which has been provided to the employers, and this additional facility is in addition to the digital signature certificate. Keeping in view with the Government of India's policy of Digital India, which Government of India had introduced, and this mobile governance, EPFO had integrated or means collaborated with the Department of National E-Governance Division. It is called NEGD actually, National E-Governance Division, and NEGD is a body which is under MITI, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Okay, and the NEGD has brought in different digital platforms through mobile applications, and of which Umang is one. In Umang actually, in Umang there are this Umang application has been brought in force on November 23, 2017 actually by Honorable Prime Minister. It started with 163 services. Okay, and as on today, means October 2020. The total number of services which Umang has incorporated is 358 services from center and 450 from 27 states, and total 1,179 from utility bill payments actually, and with a total 110 crores transaction till date actually. So here in this Umang application, 6.5 crore employees, which we have integrated this Umang application. A total number of 17 services have been made available on the Umang application. And these services which have been made applicable at the Umang application are generally in four categories, that is employee centric, employer centric, and general services, pensioner and registration of grievances. This I think you have already been briefed about it. Just I am covering it because it is a new initiative which has been brought in EPFO through the IT initiative actually. Here with this means here with this facility, a member can get service by using the mobile app itself. Mobile, he need not go to a desktop or laptop or an internet facility. He can right away use his mobile and download the Umang application and start using the EPFO services which is available on the Umang platform actually. Here with this Umang platform, the EPFO member can check Provident Fund passbook balance, raise claim, means he can file any type of claim, he can check the status of claim, he can submit the Jivan Praman which I had already told. So likewise, the pensioners also have got facility to see the pensioners passbook, and the employer also has got the facility to know the contribution remittance status. Similarly, the member can also register the grievances also. So this has been introduced off late actually. Register of grievances we have incorporated in last month only. So as of now, total 17 services have been integrated on Umang application, and you will be glad to know that 10% average, 10% of the total claims what we receive across pan India are through mobile application, and of course a deeper penetration is required, and that has to be there has to be a growth in that percentage matter. But even though we have started in only 2017, in the last 3 years or 2 years, we have reached 10 to 15% percentage of total online files claimed through Umang application. Going forward, since we have already given allotted UN to all the members, and we have ensured the seeding of that is Aadhaar bank account and PAN number, we have provided a facility on the unified portal which is auto transfer of account. Means previously earlier the member was required to file one transfer application, okay, for getting his transfer from a previous account to the present account. Now if in the instance that a member has activated his UN and given his all KYC details duly verified, then as and when he switches his employment from one establishment to another establishment and he furnishes his UN to the subsequent establishment, then immediately a auto transfer of account request is triggered on its own and is escalated to the concerned field office to transfer the accumulation which is there in his previous account to the present account without any intervention of the member concerned. So this is a good means big thing, and we can it has removed means it is going to remove in future days to come the total concept of transfer claim itself. As in EPFO, actually there was a long legacy of working in a manual based work. Okay. Now with this manual based working during the last so many years, what used to happen in EPFO is that the details or the records like name, date of birth or gender, whatever is there with EPFO in its manual records actually. So when we brought in this concept of UN allotment with Aadhaar authentication and Aadhaar seeding, what had taken place is that there had been a lot of mismatch between the name of the member, date of the birth, and gender. Generally, what is the general practice is that, as of all of you may be knowing, if you are asked my name, I will tell that my name is S.K. Patnaik. Okay. My name gets registered as S.K. Patnaik in the records of the establishment. But when I got my Aadhaar, it is Aadhaar calls for full name, Shailendra Kumar Patnaik. So that name, while doing my transaction online, or any member gets his transaction online, when the names are compared, then there is a mismatch between the names. And similarly, there used to be a practice in earlier days, whenever a member or a labor illiterate class of a category of labor is asked his date of birth, he doesn't know his date of birth. That I was born in the year 1960, or I was born in the year month August 1963. So he was either he was giving his year of birth, or he was giving month and year of birth, like that. The records which were already there in EPFO got accumulated during the last 20-25 years. And when this EPFO brought in this concept of Aadhaar seeding with UN, so what had happened is there was a lot of mismatch between the Aadhaar details and the record names or details which EPFO had in their field office on the paper-based documents. So there was a required to give a facility with an online mode for correction in the name, date of birth, and gender. So this is the in line with the decision of Government of India of Digital India, less paperwork, all those things. So now a facility has been given to all the EPF member to file an online request to his employer if there is any mismatch between the name and date of birth and gender, what is there available in Aadhaar and what is there available in EPF records, so that the correction can be made through online mechanism, and there should be no need to submit any physical document, reducing the time and paperwork. Okay. Earlier there was a facility, means this further onwards, EPFO had decided that wherever there is a change of date of birth and the change is within 1 year, okay, then it can be corrected through online match or a request with online request. And if it is more than 1 year, the date of birth, there is a change in date of birth having a 1 year, more than 1 year, it requires submission of supporting documents. Supporting documents can be birth certificate, matriculation certificate, or there are certain other documents also which are mentioned. So supporting document had to be submitted by virtue of which, or by verification of which, the change was carried out in the EPFO records. Now that was being adopted in a manual fashion actually. So that also EPFO had dispensed of recently, and we have introduced in a facility on the unified portal for uploading the scanned supporting document for carrying out any correction in the date of birth, even if it is more than 1 year. The change is more than 1 year, because date of birth actually is a vital information which has an impact on getting the pension, amount of pension actually. So that for that reason we are emphasizing on supporting documents for getting change in date of birth. Earlier, when we had introduced this online filing of claim, we had only introduced this advanced claims and settlement claims actually. Okay. Now, which was very particularly the filing of advanced claims and settlements claim is quite easy actually. It doesn't require much of any documents actually. But when it comes to pension claim, the pension claim generally requires a lot of documents along with the claim actually. The documents are birth certificate is required, photos are required, and thumb impression is required. And if it is a death claim, then death certificate is also required. So all those annexes are also were also required in online filing. Means the filing of pension claims. So it was being prevalent in manual fashion. So now recently we have facilitated the members to have the facility of online filing of pension claims also, including the members belonging to exempted establishments. So this initiative had been a major relief to the subscribers of PF Trust also. Generally, exempt usually have their PF corpus in their own exempted fund, whereas the pension is maintained with the EPFO. So now there was a requirement of filing the claim with EPFO office for getting pension, and moreover, in case of death, it was a much more major relief to the family members that for filing a single claim through the online mode, which is getting received through online mode and getting settled also. And as on today, of late, we have introduced, EPFO has introduced to this Prayas concept of getting giving settlement of pension on the day of retirement even. So this is a landmark achievement which EPFO has achieved or has started working on it of late. Now, on the unified portal, as and when a member gets registered or allotted a UN and has activated his UN with Aadhaar and PAN and bank account number, he has a facility to furnish his e-nomination. E-nomination is a concept of declaring his family members, so that in the event of unforeseen death of the member due to some situation, the payment of pension to the nominees will be made easily on the basis of e-nomination. For making e-nomination, the member has to furnish the detail of Aadhaar and upload the photo in a scanned format on his at his member portal, and which is authenticated through e-sign. There is no of any employer in this process. So all the members are also actually required to file the e-nomination at their member portal once they are allotted UN. So this is also a good facility which EPFO has provided to the members through online portal. Previously, when establishment used to get transferred from one exempted establishment to an unexempted establishment, in that situation, usually the Annexure K or the service history and the PF amount used to come through physical mode in the shape of check and paper document containing the service history. So now that has also been dispensed of with, and EPFO has facilitated the online transfer facility of PF accumulation from exempted establishment to an unexempted establishment through online mode, removing the manual intervention either on the part of the establishment or on the part of the EPFO, thereby reducing the lag or gap in crediting the PF member account. And of late, going forward, now the EPFO has also given the facility of self-generated UN. That means member previously a member, when he gets an employment, he used to register at his employer for generation of UN. The employer had the facility to generate the UN for that concerned member or employee. Now a member or a citizen of India, before getting the employment even or getting a prospective indication of getting an employment, he can self-generate his UN based on his Aadhaar details. So that as and when he gets, he gives his joining report to any establishment or he joins any establishment, he can immediately furnish his UN. This has been done with the experience which EPFO had observed. Generally, what happens in big companies every month, in the terms of number, thousands of employees join every month and thousands of employees leave every month. So the employer had a hurdleless task of generating UN for each and every worker who were used to join every month. So thereby, with this facility, it has given the member itself or the worker himself to generate the UN on his own and directly report or join any establishment with the allotted UN, so that the employer's work has got reduced and the member becomes means aware of his UN, and he gets very easy instant relief by getting credit of his PF account also from the very first month of his joining. Of late, EPFO had integrated this with the DigiLocker of NEGD. In DigiLocker, the EPS pensioners have got a facility to get their PPO, pension payment order. PPO stands for pension payment order. Okay, as well as the pension payment order digital copy is accessible in the DigiLocker itself. As you are all already aware, the CBSE certificates and all those things are available in DigiLocker. Similarly, EPFO has integrated its pension payment order in DigiLocker. And after EPFO has introduced this, now Government of India has also brought in the same facility in the DigiLocker, thereby giving facility to all the pensioners to get their PPO in the DigiLocker itself. Similarly, the UN card is also in the DigiLocker for a EPF member. He can, an EPF member can access his UN card at the DigiLocker and store the information on his mobile for instant retrieval. Generally, UN number is a 12-digit number, so it is not generally remembered. One cannot remember. So he can instantly retrieve his UN number also from his mobile. Now, of late, EPFO had introduced the concept of e-inspection. You may be already briefed about it. Now, the e-inspection is that it is an online mode that the list of the employer is generated through the system based, auto system based. There is no manual intervention depending on the default category, and it is escalated to the, it is given at the employer's login. The employer immediately comes to know about the default committed, and the employer has got the facility to immediately intimate through online mode only whether his business has got closed or his business has been going under lockdown, or he is facing some financial constraint and he will be paying in due course of time. So he can respond immediately, so that EPFO will come to know about the real ground reality of the default, and so that he can take the further course of action depending on the online response of the employer. Here it has rather saved the resources of EPFO. EPFO, what it used to do, that it used to deploy its inspector to the physical premises of the establishment to verify the default cause of default. So thereby now, with this auto and online digital interface which has been provided to employer, this has in turn saved much of the EPFO's resources, energy, and has given a digital mode of directly with the employers. Okay, so this has been of late means introduced in last month only. It has been inaugurated in the last CBT meeting, Central Board of Trustees meeting. Now, during the pandemic, as all of you know,
Actually, I'll just for a
tell me,
second.
sir. Tell me, sir. Tell me, sir.
Uh-huh. We are on time, but since post lunch we have some time with us, so we will take 10 minutes extra, and I think in 10 minutes time we will be able to finish this session. Patnaik.
Okay, it will be there more 2, 3, 4 slides are there actually.
Right. So all participants, please be with us for another 10 minutes, and then we will close this session at 1, and then we will have enough time for you for lunch. Please carry on, sir.
I will finish it fast actually.
No, it's okay, Please.
So during this COVID pandemic, as all of you know, there was a migrant worker. The workers were going home and they had no salary and all those things. So the government of India has introduced this scheme para 68L3, whereby an employee can have his 75% of amount advance. So this provision we had made it through auto mode actually. We had facilitated the members to file through online mode, and which was getting also, we were settling the EPFO member offices were settling within 72 hours. But that means within 3 days the amount has got credited to the members account. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, this has been got very quite helpful to all the labor class workers who were deprived of their regular salaries, and they were going up to their own villages. So this was a landmark, means great achievement by EPFO, and the number of claims which EPFO had settled. It is a record-breaking settlement. Just I don't have the figures, but it is a record-breaking settlement, and all the EPFO offices had worked day and night, and had settled and has facilitated the workers with the required money. And this IT division also brought in this feature within just a span of 3 days. On March 29th or March 23, 2020, this lockdown was declared. Within a 1 week's time, it has developed this software and tested it and made available to the members. And this COVID-19 claim advance application, we had made it facilitated at Umang application also. Means a member need not go to anywhere. On through his mobile only, he could give his COVID-19 application form, and it was getting settled within 72 hours. And in this COVID-19 this COVID pandemic also, what we as all of you be knowing, that this COVID pandemic was most prevalent in the states of Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and some states actually it was getting more concentrated, and thereby our EPFO offices also had to close down or had to work with restricted. And on the reverse side, EPFO office was used to get lot of claims for settlement. And there was a need to settle it in a fast mode. So what we EPFO had introduced during those pandemic times is multi-location claim settlement. That means that claims of Maharashtra were getting settled across in the states of Guwahati, means Assam, or West Bengal, or in Rajasthan. So we had diverted those claims to those states where the pandemic was having less effect, and there were resources available to the EPFO in terms of task force for making these settlements. So this multi-location claim settlement had brought in improvement, and had paved the way, or has facilitated the working class or the workers to get their COVID advance in a fast manner, and EPFO could also able to get over its own constraints or its own limitation in terms of task force, specifically in the state of Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu and other states where the pandemic was more predominantly prevalent actually. Now, as all of you all are aware that we used to, in few years back, people used to know there was a facility called Skype. We used to talk with each other through Skype actually. Okay, that was everybody. It is on everybody's mouth tips actually. Skype. And you may be also, all of you may be also having chat with your friends on Google Meet and all those things. So of late in this COVID pandemic time, this virtual meeting has grown or has got adopted as a new normal actually, you can say. And we EPFO during the pandemic had to take a lot of decisions which were means through lot of deliberations actually. And our EPFOs, as you all of you know, we have got 21 zonal offices where additional Central Provident Fund commissioners are sitting, wherein grassroots level work is happening, and where workers are there based in the entire geographical proximity of India. Now, EPFO had required to take a lot of decisions which are important in due to this. Of late, this Government of India's PMGKY scheme and this COVID advance claim and pension and all those things. So during these times, the EPFO adopted this new normal and was able to interact with the senior officers and deliberation. Lot of deliberations were taking place throughout the day, and a total of 339 virtual meetings have been conducted during this period from April 2020 to September 2020, which has facilitated to take many important decisions and important activities. And this is the first time in the history of EPFO to have those meetings, these kinds of meeting on virtual platform. Even the mandate meetings of executive committee and the central board of trustees, which take policy decisions, was conducted for the first time in the history of EPFO on virtual platform. So this virtual platform has given way and is adopted as a new normal by the EPFO. And this way, EPFO has shown to the world that it is ready to accept the new challenges and to the new norms which are getting evolved through these global practices. And of late, as this subject matter, as already know, this is a compliance 7A court inquiry to determine the dues applicable or determine the applicability of the act to an establishment. Previously, we used to have a physical court hearings or quasi-judicial hearings wherein the parties or the employer used to come and appear physically before the assessing authority and give their explanation or give their standpoint, and based on which the competent authority or the assessing authority used to pass speaking orders actually. So now in this last CBT last month, we had launched this virtual court and online adjudication of quasi-judicial hearing. Now the employer no need to come physically to the concerned office before appear before the assessing officer. Now they are intimated through a email in video conferencing application, and the employer sitting at the right in the office, in his office or at his home, he can log in and connect and say is able to put his points across the video conferencing solution to the assessing officer, and the assessing officer can understand or takes in the statement of the employer through that virtual mode and makes his speaking order. So this has in turn also, it is also a landmark achievement of EPFO in terms that it has saved a lot of resources and energy and time, and has also facilitated the employer in a way that he saves his time and resources and the time consumed in traveling to the EPFO office and all those things. So this is also a great achievement which EPFO in its new initiative has come across and taken it. So this is all about what I had to say. Though I had gone very fast to tell you all those things. So thank you all of you for the patient hearing. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Hari
you.
sir.
Thank you, Patnaik sir. It was really nice. In fact, it became a recap session for all the participants because they, in the last 4 weeks, have been listening to these initiatives, these aspects of EPFO's functioning. And in the end, what you have done, you have actually revisited everything and put everything together in the form of IT initiatives. So really nice. Thank you so much for coming and for delivering this module. And I think all our trainees would find this thing very, very helpful. They would keep the slides with them, and whenever they have any issue in understanding, they can go back to these slides and refer to them. So
Ajay, I would
I
also
think,
like
yes, ma'am.
kindly complete your sentence. I will get in after you complete.
Ma'am, you can, please, ma'am.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Patnaik sir because but for him we would not be having this training because he was there helping us put this entire platform together. So he has been with us throughout the entire training, and like you said, he has done a good recap. So thank you, Dada. We are so grateful to
Thank
you
you,
for
madam.
all the
Thank you,
help and
madam. It's my
support and
privilege.
constantly being there with us all the time. Thank you, Ajay.
It's my privilege, madam. It's my privilege that the new blood or the new energy which EPFO is getting, they are made aware of all those these IT initiatives.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, madam. Now we are sitting here. We have completed all the modules, and that is it. The induction training program from our side, the delivery of program from our side is done. And I must congratulate all of you on being wonderful students. Wonderful. You have been really attentive, and I can assure all my seniors that wherever they would go, they would be delivering what is expected from them. And it has been a great moment for us, great learning exercise for us, doing this first online training, and I can say that it's because of you that we have been able to do it so successfully. Thank you again to all of you. And now what we will do, we will take a slightly longer lunch break. You can enjoy
Ajay,
your
I'll
break.
take my 2 minutes.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. And then we all will connect at 2:30. 2:30, everyone should be back on their seats. And because at sharp 3, we will start our valedictory program. I request everyone to wait. Please don't leave. I request everyone to wait. Please don't leave midway. It is, you have been very disciplined throughout, and I must tell that please, the moment this training is over, you should not leave that discipline. Please carry on with that momentum. So I was just saying that you come back 2:30, be on your seat, and at sharp 3 we will start our valedictory program. CPFC will be chairing that session, and all your mentors will also be there with you during the session. Ma'am, please go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, Ajay, I wanted my 2 minutes. Good afternoon to everybody, because you cannot end anything without me, because I've been here since morning waiting to talk to you guys. One, all the best for your exams, because don't think anybody would want more than me and my team that you do well, because it's a reflection of what we have taught you. So kindly do well, keep your cool, and revise all your evaluation questions. Even for today, you'll be getting them in the evening. And though Ajay said that training is over, for me it's not over, because we have the exam tomorrow and we have the valedictory today, and CPFC sir will be here. You have shown us utmost support and discipline, and you have shown the brightness and the sincerity and dedication. Kindly during the valedictory session, keep your calm, be seated, be disciplined, because it would be one opportunity for CPFC sir to look at you people are doing and how you behave. And you have been outstanding students, excellent performers. You have really given us many moments of pride, not only to me but to your mentors, to the additional zonal additional CPFCs, to the regional commissioners in charge of your sites. Everybody has had so many moments of pride because of you guys. We are really so proud of you. I'm so proud of seeing your presentations, your recap sessions, the work you have done on the various social security schemes. We'll be working on them, and we'll get back to you when we do something. We give it a better form, we'll get back to you. And definitely, as I promised, you'll be getting the credit. This is your contribution. And today is the day when me and my team will be sharing with a lot of sense of pride and presenting you guys the changed 207 people after the training to the Central Provident Fund Commissioner and to the senior management. And you have given us this day and this moment of pride. I am so grateful to you. We thoroughly enjoyed the cultural program, thoroughly enjoyed the recap sessions, thoroughly enjoyed the sessions, your questions, your moments of anxiety, your responses, your plus one. We enjoyed every moment of it. It was great. I think you have become a part of this family, and the EPFO family, and the first strongest bond that you have is with the academy. Academy means the zonal training institutes as well, because they are the ones who were standing strong pulling this through. The mentors were like pillars of support, the zonal additional commissioners, the regional commissioners in charge, the people who were serving you, giving you tea, cleaning your seats. Each one of them were contributing to your learning curve. And I am so proud of you. I really wanted to put this across to you, not in front of the Central Provident Fund Commissioner. That will be done in adequate words and in various means. But definitely, I love you guys. You're part of me, part of my team, and we had a great time mentoring, tutoring, and learning from you. And I think the very best was the learning. We learned a lot. We learned a lot in terms of management. We learned a lot in terms of putting together a virtual learning process. We learned a lot in handling youngsters. We learned a lot because there was COVID. We learned a lot because you were so participative. And we learned a lot because you people were so giving. And the kind of effort you made, marvelous. Yesterday, I wasn't expecting a presentation, but it did come through. I'm so grateful to each one of you, so happy and so proud of you. Wherever you go, you will be our ambassadors, the ambassadors of the academy. We are the people who have put you together into an an officer. You came here as a student, as an individual. We have tried and shaped you into an officer, and you are our brand ambassadors. Wherever you go, please continue to bring us this sense of pride, this sense of this sense of belonging, where we can just stand and say, he is our student, she is our student. We mentored them, we learned from them, we did the first hand holding. Continue to be our mouthpieces, continue to be the source of our moments of pride. I'm waiting to see many more. I would be looking at all foundation days from now onwards to see how many of you get awards next year, because I know many of you would. I'm very proud of you. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye. Thank you, Ajay.
Thank you, ma'am, for this lovely words of encouragement. And we have a standing ovation from our participants. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So let's take a break, and all of you come back and when we will start the session. Thank you. Can you just try the